Hey everyone, it's Harry from SYD AP BBQ, the YouTube channel that teaches you how to master barbecue so you can spread barbecue love. New Year's Eve is almost upon us, and what does a pitmaster do to up his game for a special meal for the special someone or for your family for New Year's Eve? I have here a pork belly which we're going to transform into a porchetta, which is a kind of a roast rolled pork belly that's popular in several cultures, including roulade in Europe, the porchetta in Italy, lechon in the Philippines, and roast pork or stew yolk in Hong Kong and China. We're going to take our inspiration from some of the spices found in Italy, such as fennel. I'm going to use some peppercorns, some garlic, and some SYD rub. We're also going to roast a fennel to go with it and make some fresh fettuccine egg pasta. Here's the pork belly, and the way we prepare it, we dry it up first. And what I find that in order to get a crispy skin like a chicharrones, it's important to dry it and then prep it properly by doing two things. Number one, we want to basically scrape the pork to get rid of any excess hair so that the chicharrones will crisp up nicely. This is the optional step. You don't have to do it, but I like to kind of scrape the skin to get rendered nice and fat with a sharp knife and get rid of some of the surface fluff, I call it. See that here? See the little surface fluff? Right, like that. So we don't want this on the pork. And after you do that, clean it up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna poke little tiny holes using a tool called a jacquard. And I'll leave the link in my description on where to get one of these on Amazon. These little devices are great for poking tiny holes in the skin so that the fat will render and we're gonna get a beautiful crispy skin. You can also use a bamboo skewer or a metal skewer. Get a few of them timed together and poke it, but this one is a lot faster, so I'm gonna do this way like that, so. And work my way through the pork skin to make little small holes so that the fat will drain. And we're going to apply a little secret hack, which is a mixture of some vinegar and salt to make it really crisp up at the end. I'm gonna go past two ways. Okay, flip it over. And we're gonna make some deep cuts into the meat so we can get the spice paste we're going to make to fit in. So we're gonna make a cut like so, like that. So I'm gonna do a cross hatch pattern about 1 inch apart like so. We'll prepare the spice mixture now. I have about 2 tablespoons of fennel seeds, 2 tablespoons of peppercorns, about 2 heaping tablespoons of brown sugar, a little bit of garlic powder, probably about 1 tablespoon, and some SYD rub, about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to be cooking a fennel, and we're just going to cook the bulk part, but the fronds of the fennel are very tasty. I like to throw these little fronds into my spice mixture. It's got a kind of a licorice flavor to it, which I like, which really goes well with pork. So I'm going to cut some of these fronds, throw them into the spice mix, and pound it all up. So we're going to pound it until it becomes a nice mushy paste. I pounded the mixture of fennel and pepper into a kind of a semi-wet paste. I wish you could smell my kitchen now. This smells absolutely amazing with all the release of the fennel. We're going to add a little bit of oil now to create a little slurry. We're going to rub it all over the pork belly that we cut into a kind of a diamond crosshatch. Get all the oil to combine with all the flavors and get all that flavor of the spices and the flavored oil onto the pork. Before we apply the spice mixture, let's get some rub on it. It's a nice even coat here before we put the mixture of pounded herbs on top. So now you can use salt and pepper here if you don't have a barbecue rub, but this rub works really well on pork. It helped me win 3rd place overall USA KCBS. So now that the rub is on, let's go ahead and put some of the mixture here, kind of work it in. just work into the crevices here. Okay. Alright, so once you do this, it's good to let it rest in the refrigerator for an hour or even longer. Overnight's even better. But if you don't have time, it's okay. You can still cook it just after you put the spice mix on, because it's going to be fantastic either way. Now we just roll it into a meat roll, so. This is the completed pork belly with the spice mixture in the middle rolled up and with the cross hatching. So at this point in time, I realized that I didn't have my glasses on. So I took my contacts out and I wasn't paying attention, and I have to retract what I told you earlier. The skin on this particular pork belly has been removed. So when I started, I wasn't paying attention and it looked like the skin was on, but the technique I'm going to show you also works just as well with the skin. But this one here had the skin removed. So my apologies, I wasn't paying attention, but it will still be a great porchetta because the flavors are going to be absolutely amazing with or without the skin. Alright, we're going to imagine the skin on the porchetta. I'm going to show you a technique that will allow you to make sure that the skin is going to be crispy. So we have a little bit of vinegar. We add a little bit of salt to it. So, and what you want to do is you want to dry the porchetta and you want to paint it with this vinegar and salt mixture. So if you're cooking a porchetta with the skin on, this will make the skin crisp up even easier. Since mine is already skinless, we'll just brush it on and show you guys that it also works with or without skin. This will help crisp up also the fat underneath the layer here. So I'm going to brush it a little bit right here like so. Alright, we'll let it dry on the refrigerator and let the flavors meld a bit before we cook it. And I like to cap the ends with a bit of foil, like so. Alright, let it dry a little bit. Alright, we're going to load it with some Jealous Devil charcoal. Lighting it with a couple of Weber starter cubes to get the fire going. The charcoal is lighting up. I'm going to put a pan here to get the drippings. So we're going to create a cool zone and a hot zone. I have the barbecue dragon spin grate here. I'll put it back on. So, okay, this is a nice design where you can actually rotate your food so that you can smoke and followed by a sear on the hot side. And this grate will allow you to do both. So like so. So I'm going to put the pork belly on this side and we're going to cook it at around 350 degrees for approximately until the internal temperature is around kind of maybe 180-ish to get it nice and tender. We're going to measure it by the probe tenderness and then we're going to sear the outside to get the outside to be crispy. Alright, we're coming up to temp and we'll put the pork belly porchetta on this side. The fire's on this side, cool zone on this side. I'm going to put the lid back on and the hole or the exhaust damper has to be on the opposite side so that the hot air will flow through the chamber and come out the other side. So we'll just let this one go. We'll set the vent open enough to get around 350 degrees, like so. Let's make the egg pasta now, and I have about just over 2 cups of flour here. Typically the ratio is about 1 cup of flour to 1 egg to make egg pasta. That's provided you have really big eggs, but I have really kind of small eggs, so I'm going to go a little bit more on the egg. Not a 1-to-1, but maybe 1 1/4. So I have just over 2 cups of all-purpose flour here. You can use 00 flour, which is more fine, make it silkier egg pasta. But you know, for most folks like me, we just have all-purpose at home, so that's gonna work. So first of all, you make a little well like so in the middle. Crack your egg in there. 1, 2, 3. So my ratio is not exactly 1-to-1 because I have a little bit more of the egg here. So what you want to do is you want to kind of like break the egg up, scramble a little bit here. And I do something that's unconventional. I like a little bit of salt in my pasta. I know that the traditional version doesn't have any salt. I prefer a little salt here. And kind of work your way slowly, incorporating the flour gradually. Alright, so the pasta feels a little too dry, so no problemo. Just add another egg. And you can adjust the kind of thickness of the pasta that you want. Alright, once the pasta has come together, you can go ahead and start kneading it. That will enable you to kind of stretch the gluten, and we'll do this for a few minutes. Typically they recommend kneading it until it gets nice and soft. It usually takes about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and this is kind of a fun thing to do. If you're like me, you like cooking, this is a fun part of the job of trying to get the dough to be kneaded and stretched so that the gluten will be able to give you that kind of nice toothy mouthfeel. So as you knead it, it gets soft. So I'll go off camera now and knead it for about 10 minutes. Now there's many methods of kneading. Some people like to knead this way, followed by this way, but I just do what I feel works for me, which is just kind of folding the dough over, kind of pressing it out. And this is quite a good workout because the dough is hard. So over time, as you knead it more and more, it's going to become more and more pliable. So 5 minutes later, the pasta is coming together. I like to knead for about 10 minutes because I think that it tastes better that way. It's developed a nice little softness now. You press it, it springs back. Alright, looks about right. Push it, it springs back. So it's got a little bit of elasticity now. We can let it rest in the refrigerator. We'll cover it some plastic wrap. We've had the ball of dough relaxed, and we're ready to kind of work on it now. Flour your surface. We're going to cut it in half. Alright, you want to roll it out until it's about paper thin. So you can see your hand underneath a little bit like that. Okay, so you can go thinner if you like, or a little bit thicker. It doesn't really matter. This is handmade pasta, so it's designed to be a little bit rustic. Alright, I think it's thin enough. So we're going to try to cut it now. And a little bit of a labor of love, but absolutely going to be wonderful. It's been about 3 hours, and the pork belly, porchetta, is now nice and tender. I can feel it. It's running about 176 degrees, close to 180 I predicted earlier. 180, 178, 175. Let's see here, 177. Okay, so it's ready to be seared. So let's go start that process. Let's go ahead and brush it with our mixture of vinegar and salt. Take these pieces off. Alright, nice and done, and nicely charred. Alright, now we can cook some of the fennel. Let's see the fennel here. Alright, a little bit of salt, the water. Add the fettuccine. we've got our Parmigiano Reggiano here, and warm up some garlic and a little bit of butter. We'll just make a simple fettuccine with some butter and garlic and lots and lots of Parmigiano Reggiano. Just a simple pasta to go with our porchetta and our grilled fennel. And the garlic's done. Put it on the fire. After you drain the pasta, you want to get some of that butter and garlic mixture in it. Give it a toss. And of course, my dog Beans is gonna continue to bark as I shoot my YouTube video. Okay. Mix it up like so. A little bit of salt and pepper. A little drizzle of some good extra virgin olive oil. Alright, and get some Parmigiano Reggiano in it. The secret to good pasta is having some good Parmigiano Reggiano. Alright, fresh egg fettuccine. All ready to go. Ready to slice the porchetta. Alright, porchetta looks beautiful. Let's go ahead and plate it now. Some of the pasta. Some of the grilled fennel. Alright, the only thing left to do is drizzle some olive oil and some Parmigiano Reggiano. Alright, let's finish it with a drizzle with some good olive oil. Some cracked pepper. And some bread, Parmigiano Reggiano. And there you have the completed dish. Grilled fennel, fresh fettuccine pasta, and beautiful pork belly porchetta. Now for the tasting part. Alright, got a piece here. Look at that. Super moist. Super tender, delicious pork belly. All that flavor of the fennel and the pepper together with a lot of the other spices that went into it. The barbecue rub just makes a fantastic combination. The smoke and the char is absolutely fantastic. Just a nice crispy bite. Look at how the skin is. It's really, really crispy. Tender, smoky. Let me try the pasta now. Handmade fettuccine alfredo. The pasta is fantastic. It's just al dente, very toothy. And let me try the fennel. Very good. Has the slight kind of crunchiness and tenderness that goes with roasted fennel. And it's got a little bit of a licorice flavor to it. Fantastic bite of the pork with the fettuccine, handmade fettuccine and the roasted fennel. Absolutely delicious. And I know Bean's been jumping on me because he wants some. He's been waiting for a long time for this. Sit, sit, sit. Okay, here you go. A little porchetta dog here. So this concludes another episode from Slap Your Daddy Barbecue. So Happy New Year to all my fans and viewers out there. Thanks for helping me push up to 30,000 subscribers in less than a year. Plenty more videos coming in 2019. So please like, subscribe, and share my video and tell others about my channel. There's a Patreon link down there for those of you who want to buy me a cup of coffee. I got lots of t-shirts online and lots of items on Amazon. I know you've been asking to buy all this stuff that I've been using. I torture test everything. So go ahead and look at the Amazon link to see if you want to get some cool barbecue gear that I use. Until the next video, we'll see ya. Love from Harry from Los Angeles. Alright, everything is all packed and ready for storage here. And we'll see if I can hand this to any of my YouTube viewers who might be interested to try this porchetta. So I'll leave a link for you to contact me if you're interested in trying out these samples.